Chapter 5. Enoch. In the days of my father Jared it came to pass that the children of men multiplied upon the face of the earth, and beautiful and comely daughters were born to them. While it was true that Jael and the holy angels were witnesses to the occurrences of the children of earth, they were not alone in their scrutiny. Satan and his hosts were also conscious. Some of the fallen angels of the dominion of Satan, those who would soon come to be known as the evil watchers, looked down from on high, with thoughts of exceeding wickedness. Amongst the evil legions of Lucifer was a commanding angel whose name is Simjazel. In the days of my father Jared was he ruler over 9 attending angels and commander of 19 staff angels, these being rulers over 9 attending angels, and together they were a force of 200. These are they who from high atop the mountain known as Hermon, from behind their cloaks of invisibility, took to the habit of lasciviously watching the daughters of men. It became their sport to view the intimacy of men with women, and in doing so became engulfed in a passion. They desired to share in what was meant only for the corporeal creation. They were of heaven, spiritual. What they were considering was abomination to its lowest degree. What macabre beings would such a union produce, flesh and angel? The children of men were soon to be made horridly aware. It came to pass, in the days of my father Jared, before my birth, that Simjazel and his following decided to come upon the earth and live as men. Simjazel said to his command, "Let us go to the earth and put on flesh, and let us be gods amongst the people. Let us go and take the daughters of men as wives, as many as we see fit, and we shall lie down with them, and they shall bear us children." Simjazel continued by saying, "I fear that you may not agree to do this deed with me, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. Therefore let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but carry it out." They swore all together to do as their leader suggested, and in all 200 angels descended on the face of the earth. They descended at the base of the Mount of Hermon, and these are the names of the 19 leaders: Rekebel, Remiel, Kakabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Danel, Iskiel, Brikajel, Asael, Armarosel, Batarel, Ananel, Zakiel, Samzapiel, Satrel, Terel, Jomjel, Sariel, and the sinister Azazel. The fallen angels descended and materialized in the flesh, endowing themselves with genitals like those of horses. They took to themselves wives, as many as pleased them, and they began to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms, and enchantments, and the working of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. The women of men became pregnant by the evil watchers, and they bore them great giants. They bore them sons and daughters of great height and strength, those who would become known as the Nephilim. Beings half human and half angel, and extremely cruel, they proceeded to consume all the acquisitions of men. These giants lorded over men, and placed them in grievous bondage, and the men of earth toiled to quench their insatiable appetites. It was impossible to do so, for these offspring were human only in form. These offspring of the unholy union of angel and flesh could not be satisfied, and soon there was nothing left in which to sustain them, so they began to turn against the animals of the earth, hunting them, killing them for sport, eating flesh, and drinking blood. The evil watchers were intoxicated with the pleasures that their materialized flesh enabled them to feel. They instituted phallic worship, and caused the children of men to bow down before their exaggerated genitals. They instituted gross wantonness, fornication, and sodomy. Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. He made known to the men of earth the different metals of the ground, and the art of working them. He taught men to make bracelets, and ornaments, and the use of antimony. He taught the children of earth to paint their eyelets, and all kinds of costly stones he made manifest, and all coloring tinctures. Godlessness was rampant on the earth, men were led astray and made corrupt in all their ways. Simjazel taught enchantments and root cutting. Armal-Urozal taught the resolving of enchantments. Brikajel taught men astrology. Kakabiel taught the constellations, Arakiel the signs of the earth. Shamsiel taught the signs of the sun, and Sariel the signs of the moon. Men worshipped these god-men, and men perished, they cried, and their cries went up to heaven. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel looked down from on high and saw the abundance of blood being shed on the earth, and the lawlessness. They conversed one to another concerning these things, saying, "The spilled blood of mankind cries out from the earth up to the gates of heaven, and the souls of men are crying to we the holy ones of heaven that we bring their cause before the Most High." Michael requested an audience before the throne of Jah-El for himself and his brethren of the throne platform. Jah-El consented, and they took their audience positions around the throne. They spoke in one accord, "Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, you have made all things. You see all things. You see that Azazel has taught all unrighteousness on earth and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn, and Simjazzle whom you have given authority to bear rule over his associates. They have gone to the daughters of men on the earth, and have lain with them, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all manners of sin. The women have borne giants, and the whole earth is filled with bloodshed and unrighteousness. Behold the souls of those who have died, how they wail and make suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentation has ascended and cannot cease, because of the lawless deeds which are taking place in the earth. Lord Jah-El, you see all things, and you suffer them, and you do not say to us what we are to do to them in regard these things." The Lord Jah-El remained mute for a great long while, and then in a voice of assured consolation said, "All things in my own time." When my father Jared was 160 years of age, and my forefather Adam 620, he took to wife my mother Baraka, the daughter of Razuchel, a daughter of his father's brother. When my father Jared was 162 years of age, and my forefather Adam 622, I was born. I am Enoch. I am the first son of the seventh generation from my forefather Adam. I am the teller of this story, the history of man. I saw the vision of the Holy One seated in heaven which the angels showed me, and from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, though not for my generation, but for a remote one which was far to come, your generation. Before my birth, and after, we that were considered righteous in the earth avoided the cities of men, for in them was found every sort of wickedness. We avoided the lands inhabited by the gigantic offspring of the evil watchers, and we dwelt close to the garden of paradise in proximity to the reminder of Jah-El, the two guarding cherubim with the flaming sword. The world was far removed from us, for Adam our forefather had spoken to us the promise that Jah-El had made to him. He would insistently warn, "Stay clear of sin, that the Lord Jah-El will remember you on the day of resurrection." In the 64th year of my existence, and the 686th of my aged forefather Adam, I took to wife Edni, the daughter of Danel, the daughter of my father's brother, and I was the first among men to learn to write, for it was the will of Jah-El. In the 65th year of my life, and the 687th year of my forefather Adam, did Edni bear me a son, and I called his name Methuselah. It was 12 years after the birth of my son that the voice of Jah-El came to me in a dream vision, and Jah-El said, "Enoch, you have found favor in my sight, and I have set forth a task that you shall do. Arise from your sleep, and bring nothing but your instruments of writing. Tell no one of your going, for I shall lead you to a place of my choosing, one remote and obscure." Upon my waking I lifted myself from my bed, and behold, standing at the entrance of my cave, a bright one from heaven. He said to me, "Enoch, I am Gabriel, one of the holy angels, and it is my duty to lead you to the place of your residence." Gabriel led me to a large lake, in a land called Dan, to the south and west of the mountain called Hermon. I was hidden, and not one of the children of men knew where I was concealed, or where I abode, or what had become of me, and my activities had to do with the evil watchers, and my days were spent consulting with the holy ones. The evil watchers had grown weary of their stay on earth. They had indulged themselves to capacity. Simjazzle called his force together. It was time to leave. It was their intention to return to their dark lord Lucifer and his kingdom of gloom. The 200 God-men gathered at the base of Hermon, preparing to shed their earthly bodies and return to the spirit. They were introduced to a shocking revelation. They found that they could not revert. Jah-El had relinquished their right to ever return to the freedom of heaven, even if it was one far below the third one. Simjazzle and his hosts were earthbound. They unashamedly began to pray, and make entreaty to Jah-El, but found it impossible to lift their heads toward heaven. Panic permeated the small band. Ja'el's time of recompense was at hand. In the 77th year of my existence on the face of the earth, did the Lord Ja'el summon me. I, Enoch, was giving praise to the Lord of Majesty, the King of the ages, at the place of his choosing. I was hidden, and without warning the angel Gabriel appeared before me saying, Enoch, you scribe of righteousness, go and declare to the evil watchers who have left their station, and have defiled themselves, and have acted as the children of men, and have taken themselves wives. Say to them, this is the decree of the Lord Ja'el. You have brought great destruction upon the earth, and you shall have neither peace nor forgiveness of your sins. Inasmuch as you have come to find great delight in your vile offspring, the murder of your beloved ones you shall see. Over the destruction of your children shall you cry out in great pain, and you shall make supplication to me unto eternity, but mercy and peace shall you not attain. I went to the place of the evil watchers, and found them at the base of Mount Hermon. I told them all that Ja'el had commanded me. I told them the word of the Lord of hosts. The one that is named Azazel came forward and began to entreat me, saying, surely Ja'el will have mercy upon us and our children, for they are precious to us. Make entreaty to him on our behalf, that they should live and that we be allowed to return to our rightful place. I stood and took in the sight before me an angel of the Most High. I thought to myself, how could such a one have fallen from such heights? I returned the words of the Lord of spirits to the evil one before me. I answered him saying, Azazel, you shall have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth from the mouth of Ja'el, and you are to be put into bonds. You shall not have any of your requests granted because of your unrighteousness, and because of your teaching the children of men all the ways of ungodliness. Then I spoke to the entire assembly the remainder of what I was commissioned to say, and they were afraid. Fear and trembling seized them, and they besought me to write a letter of petition for them that they might find forgiveness, and they beseeched me to make intercession for them before the Lord of ages. I wrote out their pleas and their prayers in regard to their deeds individually, and in regard their requests that they might attain the forgiveness of the Lord of hosts. I returned to the place from which I had journeyed, the place in the land of Dan, the place by the lake. There I made entreaty before the Lord Ja'el. I read over and over in repetition the petition of the evil watchers until I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell upon me. I saw visions of chastisement, and a voice bidding me to tell all to the evil watchers and reprimand them. When I awoke, I returned to them at their dwelling at the base of the mount called Hermon. They were gathered together at the place called Abel's jail, which is between Lebanon and Hermon, weeping with their faces covered in their hands. I approached them and recounted to them all the visions I had seen in my sleep, and I began to speak the words of righteousness and to reprimand the evil watchers, saying, I saw in my sleep what I am now to say with my tongue of flesh, and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men to converse therewith, and understand with the heart. As he has created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom, so has he created me also, and given me the power to reprimand you. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted to you throughout all the days of eternity. Your judgment is fixed. From henceforward you shall not ascend into heaven, no, never unto all eternity. It has been decreed by the Lord Ja'el that you are to be bound, but before your ending you shall witness the complete destruction of all your children, and they shall fall before you by the sword. Your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor your own, even though you weep and pray, and speak all the words contained in the writing which I have written. And now am I to relate to you the vision which I received from the Lord Ja'el. The evil watchers sat before me, eyes staring blankly. Some of them broke forth in loud wails. Simjazel, Azazel, and Kakabiel motioned to the others to desist their caterwauling. The three strode forward to the head of the assembly, Azazel always the one most vocal. He stationed himself before me, focusing his evil gaze, pinpointing the centers of my eyes. His speech disgusting, his manner oozing depravity, he sat down before me, legs crossed. Of all the evil watchers, Azazel was the most sinister, his defiance an obsession, his air putrid. He snapped an order to me, hissing, "Continue, scribe, tell us our fate." With all the vileness before me still was I struck with pity. They would soon come to know the wrath I was shown. As merciful as the Lord is to those who are in his favor, he is as merciless to those who are not. These angels before me were not in the favor of the Lord of hosts, and they would pay for their defiance for all eternity. I continued saying, when I was asleep great distress came upon me, and I was weeping in my sleep. I could not understand what this distress was, or what was happening to me. Then there appeared before me two men, extremely big, their faces shining like the sun, and their eyes like burning lights. I arose from my sleep and saw clearly these two men before me. I was afraid and terror took hold of me, and the men said to me, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear, the eternal God has sent us to you." They placed me between themselves, and lifted me aloft by means of their great wings. They bore me through the first heaven, through the ether, and into a vast expanse. Below me they showed me a very great sea, a sea that engulfed the entire earth, and it stretched as far as the eye could see, and I marveled. Through the vast expanse, of what I came to know as the second heaven, we traveled at a speed staggering to the imagination. We soon arrived at an entrance, an immense portal at the end of our journey governed by 7 archangels and a flaming sword. Upon gaining entry through this portal, we approached a wall built of what appeared to be crystal pulsating like flaming fire. We flew through the great gates of the great wall. The gates were posted by angels of great height, of the order cherub, one to the left side, and one to the right. We drew nigh to a structure of colossal proportion, whose walls appeared as tasseled crystals and the groundwork the same. As we entered this structure I cast my gaze to the ceiling above, and the ceiling shone like the paths of lightning and of shooting stars. The walls flickered as if engulfed in the flames of fire, and the many entrances glowed in effervescent luminosity. My fear was surpassed only by my mesmerization of what I was seeing. Then we drew nearer to a second house, one so vast that my eyes could not encompass its length, breadth, or its height. A very great and immense doorway opened before us, and the mighty wings of my bearers propelled us through it easily. This house appeared to be constructed of great columns of fire, and in every respect it excelled in splendor and magnificence. I cannot begin to describe to you its beauty and the wonders that stood before me. The floor of this house was of what appeared to be flaming fire, but it burned not. It appeared as a great flickering sea. As we entered into this house I looked to the ceiling, and the vastness was as such as when I was here on earth gazing heavenward. In its ceiling were lightning and the paths of shooting stars. My attention was snatched toward what appeared to be singing. I peered forward and beheld a lofty expanse, its appearance as crystal, suspended above great golden wheels shining as the sun. The two men with me lifted me up even higher, and I saw a very great light, and fiery troops of great archangels, incorporeal forces and dominions, orders and governments, cherubim, seraphim, and Alphanim. I became increasingly afraid and began to tremble with terror, and the two men said to me, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear." They showed me the Lord Jah-El from afar, sitting on his very high throne. From underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, and I found it impossible to look thereon. The great Jah-El sat upon his throne, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun and was whiter than the purest alabaster. None of the angels could enter and behold his face, by reason of his magnificence and glory. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none could draw nigh to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor. These holy ones who were close to him did not leave from before his presence, nor depart from him. All of the heavenly troops came and stood according to their rank, and bowed before the Lord, and then went to their places in joy and felicity, singing songs in the boundless light with small and tender voices, gloriously serving him. The cherubim and seraphim standing about the throne of Jah-El, the 6-winged and many-eyed ones, did not depart. They stood before the Lord's face doing his will, and covering the entirety of the throne platform, singing with gentle voices before the Lord's face, saying, "Holy, holy, holy, Lord ruler. Heaven and earth are full of your glory." When I had seen these things, the two with me said to me, "Enoch, thus far it is commanded for us to journey with you." They took their leave, but before their departure they placed me upon the throne platform of the Lord. They placed me upon a cloth of immeasurable beauty that served as a barrier between my feet and the surface of the chariot expanse. I was before the throne of God himself, but surrounded from his view by the many-eyed ones standing before his throne. I was encircled. I was alone, and I became exceedingly afraid almost to the point of convulsion. I fell on my face and began to cry out to myself, "Oh, woe is me, what has befallen me?" The Lord Jah-El summoned one of his archangels, and sent him to me. He approached and spoke to me the message of the Lord, saying, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear, arise before the Lord's face. Arise, and come with me." I answered him saying, "My Lord, my life is almost departed from me because of terror and trembling. I called to the True who has brought me to this place. I pleaded with the Lord that he would restore to me the angels with whom I had come. I was familiar with these two, and on these two I had come to rely. The Lord answered my prayer, and before me stood the angel named Gabriel and he that is named Uriel. Gabriel caught me up as a leaf caught up by the wind, and placed me closer before the Lord. From there I saw the appearance of the Lord's face like iron made to glow in fire and brought out emitting sparks, and it burns. I saw the Lord's face, and it is ineffable, marvelous, and awesome to look upon. Who am I to tell you of the Lord's unspeakable being, and of his very wonderful face? I cannot tell the quantity of his many instructions and various edicts, nor the quantity of those standing round him, nor their unceasing singing, nor his immutable beauty, greatness, and glory. I fell prone and bowed before the Lord, and he said to me, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear. Arise and stand before my face." Then there appeared one before me mightier than all the angels of heaven, one rugged and a possessor of great strength. The Lord Jah-El smiled at this one as he approached. This one is the archangel who is named Michael, of the order Cherub. Upon receiving his instruction from the Lord of hosts, Michael lifted me up and stationed me even closer before the Lord's face. Then the Lord Jah-El spoke, saying, "Let Enoch stand before me." And the glorious ones bowed down to him and said, "Let Enoch do according to your word." The Lord Jah-El then instructed, "Michael, take Enoch out of his earthly garments, and anoint him with my sweet ointment, and put him into the garments of my glory." Michael did as Jah-El commanded. He anointed me, and dressed me, and the appearance of the ointment is as the light of the shining sun, its smell mild like sweet morning dew. I looked at myself, and to my utter astonishment, I had become like one of the glorious ones. Afterwards did Michael bring me directly before the face of the Lord. Without forethought I immediately prostrated myself before the Lord of spirits, and the Lord called me with his own mouth and said to me, "Come forth, Enoch, and hear my words." Michael bade me to rise and approach the Lord of hosts, and I did so with my head bowed low. The Lord Jah-El then continued his conversing with me and said, "Fear not, Enoch, you righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Come closer and hear my voice. Go say this to the evil watchers who have sent you to make intercession for them. Say to them, thus is the decree of the Lord Jah-El. You should intercede for men and not men for you. Why have you left your proper station and lain with the daughters of men and defiled yourselves, and taken yourselves wives, and done like the children of men and begotten giants as your sons? You were once holy, spiritual, living the eternal life. You have defiled yourselves with the blood of women and have begotten children with the blood of flesh, and as the children of men have lusted after flesh. Therefore shall I give your sons the desire to take wives of the females born to you, and they shall impregnate them and beget children by them, and they shall destroy one another. You were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, immortal for all the generations of the world. It was not appointed that wives should be given to you, for you are spiritual and in heaven is your dwelling. Because you have perpetrated this gross error, in bonds shall you be placed for all eternity, but first shall you see the slaughter of your beloved ones. There shall be great and complete destruction amongst them. When they are killed one by the other, then shall the evil spirits proceed from their corpses, because they are born of the union of angel and flesh. They shall become evil spirits in the earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. As for the spirits of heaven, in the heavens shall be their dwelling place, but as for the spirits born upon the earth shall they reside. The spirits that arise from the corpses of the giants shall afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, wage war, and work destruction upon the earth, and cause great calamity. These spirits will have no need of food and drink, yet will they hunger and thirst, and desire to cause offense. These spirits shall go forth from the corpses of your dead children and shall inhabit the children of men, as many as they may possess, because from bodies they have proceeded, and to inhabit bodies is their desire. From the days of slaughter and destruction and death of your offspring, from the souls of whose flesh the spirits having gone forth shall destroy without incurring judgment, thus shall they destroy until the day of consummation, the great judgment in which the age shall be consummated over you evil watchers and the godless. Now to the fallen minions who have sent you to intercede for them, who have been aforetime in heaven, say to them, you have been in heaven, but all of the mysteries had not been revealed to you. You new worthless ones, and these in the error of your ways have made known to the women, and through these mysteries women and men work much evil on the earth. Say to them, this is the decree of the Lord God Ja'el. You shall have no peace. Ja'el turned his attention from me and with his voice summoned Gabriel and Uriel and said to them, Gabriel, Uriel, take the man Enoch and make known to him the destiny of the evil watchers. The two angels with whom I had journeyed so far lifted me aloft and sped me to a location in the northern part of the kingdom of heaven. They sat me down at the edge of a deep abyss with great columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall which were beyond measure in height and depth. Beyond the abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water to be found there, but it was a waste and horrible place. I gazed fixated into this place and beheld imprisoned therein 195 stars like great burning mountains, and to me when I inquired regarding them the angel Uriel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth, and will serve as the prison for the stars of the host of heaven who have transgressed the commandment of the Lord. Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women whose spirits are assuming many forms, defiling mankind and leading them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they be imprisoned until the day of the great judgment in which they shall be judged. Then the angels that were my escort lifted me once more and brought me to another place, this one more horrible than the former. I looked and perceived a fearful sight, a great fire which burned and blazed. The place was cleft as far as the abyss, being full of great descending columns of fire. Neither its extent or magnitude could I conjecture. There were all sorts of cruel tortures in this place, pitch black darkness and gloom. There was no light, but murky fire constantly flamed aloft. There was in the midst of this place a fiery river flowing, everywhere fire, and all about weapons of sadistic torture. I turned to my companions, awed at the sight before me. Then I said, how fearful this place is and terrible to look upon. Uriel looked into my eyes, his body reflecting as a glowing coal the fire of that place, and asked me, Enoch, why have you such fear and why are you frightened of this place? Be not afraid, for this place is the final destination of all fallen angels, demons, and eternal spirits of wicked mankind. This place is prepared for all who dishonor the Lord Ja'el, who on earth practice sin against nature, and who know not their Creator, and bow down before soulless, lifeless gods, who cannot see nor hear, vain gods. For these is this place prepared for their everlasting inheritance, after the great and final judgment. As soon as I did conclude the message of Ja'el to the evil watchers did they want to destroy me, but the hand of Ja'el protected me and I returned to the waters of Dan. At my return the angel Gabriel met me and said to me, Enoch, you scribe of righteousness, the Lord has decreed that you shall return to your place amongst the children of men, and say to your father and your father's fathers all that you have seen. Say to them that the Lord Ja'el is seated upon his throne, and all things shall occur in his own time. Go now, Enoch, and live until the Lord summons you once more. Would that the angel Gabriel disappeared from before my face and I returned to the people of my dwelling, to my wife, and my child, and I made known to them all that the Lord had shown me. When I was 250 years of age, and my forefather Adam 872, my son Methuselah took to wife Edna, the daughter of my brother Azrael. In the 252nd year of my existence, the 874th of my aged forefather Adam, and the 187th of my son Methuselah, did his wife Edna bear him a son, and he called his name Lamech. 175 years had elapsed since my calling from the Lord, and the children of men had waxed even deeper into iniquity. The evil watchers were wreaking havoc with insane vengeance. Led by Azazel, Simjasl, and the now infamous Kikabael, the evil watchers developed greater depths of depravity. Already the decree of Jael was coming to pass. The sons of the evil watchers had begun to marry their sisters, and produce offspring of their own. The giants became divided into three classes. First there were the Nephilim, who were birthed from the unnatural mixture of angel and flesh. Then these ones intermarried, and birthed the Eljo. In turn, the Eljo intermarried and birthed the Eluid. As their numbers increased and the clans thereof, they began to hate one another. The evil watchers could do nothing but watch the prophecy of Jael unfold before them, and as they witnessed it vented their frustrations on the children of men. The earth was wicked and corrupt. It was a time of sorcerers, witches, wizards, and giants. The people were drunkards and users of strange brews, potions, and plans. Gross fornications and adulteries of every sort were rampant, men lying with men and women with women, orgies, bestiality, and the working of every detestable thing before the Lord of hosts. The people were idolaters, worshipping idols and men. They were worshippers of human genitals, and sacrificed their children in the fire. The evil watchers had come to earth to indulge in the pleasures of the flesh, and in so doing had opened to mankind every sort of wickedness imaginable. They were sadistic, and took great joy in inflicting pain for sport. They howled with laughter as their sons skewered men, roasting them over open flame and eating their flesh. They hunted men as animals, and took whatever they desired, and the most wicked of men allied themselves with them. They hunted the great beasts of the earth, those that in your time are known as dinosaurs, and the great beasts fled to the extremities of the earth, and their fear of man became great.